Where do we land on Tesla? Where you didn't mention the robots.
Maybe we should.
Where are you going to put money in Tesla stock right now? Where are we?
I can give a few more counterpoints to why Tesla has some potential legs to it, why it has a real shot. And we can go back to that.
Yeah.
So actually, it's a good segue. So the reason that Tesla might, in quotes, be worth 100 times what they're currently making a year, which is an insane valuation. I'm not saying I agree with this, but one such thing is if they hit driverless cars, if they manage to do this, their fleet instantly becomes obscenely valuable, right? If every person has a car that can drive them and they don't even need to be in the car, that is incredibly valuable. The amount of cars they can sell go up, but every car itself becomes much more valuable because then people can use it and send it out into the world to do jobs for them an Uber.
I was going to say, as soon as you do that, the people can sell the car, Tesla could buy them back and use them for a service like this.
So the way to think about it is, and this is explicitly what Elon. This is what Elon has stated. Okay. This is what Elon has stated, and he's never lied.
No trains. I put money down. I'm not buying it in cash because I'm a normal person with a normal job. I put my money down. I loan it. I send it out to do a job. It comes back damaged.
Yeah, I mean, there would need to. So that we're gonna have to solve that.
You know what I'm saying? You've created all these problems for me as a regular person. I don't want to be a taxi owner. I don't own a taxi business.
Right, and not everybody will. But if the pitch to most people who own cars is, hey, normally we think about car ownership as you drop $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a car and then it immediately depreciates in value and for the rest of its ownership, or you buy a $20,000, $30,000 car. And it is going to actually generate money for you over the lifetime of the car. You don't have to do that, but every day while you're asleep or while you're at work, you can send it out. It's generating $100 on the meantime, and it's just doing this for you every single day.
We used to think about having to own 6 million DVDs in our house or whatever.
Yeah.
Now we rent it from a service because it's become that distributed and cheap. Yeah. If cars are self-driving and working everywhere, I don't want to spend $30,000 to own it and then lease it out to people to make money back. I'm just going to use it at the cheap cost when I need to use it.
Sure. So
if it's that distributed.
Right. So I think the argument the argument here is if they pull this off, they have millions of owners of Teslas who can suddenly start adding their thing to the fleet. And it's this incredible value add as a consumer if they want to do it. Obviously, for the person who doesn't want a guy shitting in their car, that you don't need to do it. But enough people will, right?
Will shit in your car.
I will do it, right? And it comes back covered in dogs.
You
got to hose
Waymo this week.
Yeah.
Help Tesla.
Right in the timestamp. Right in the comments. When do you think I shit my pants during this episode? And so even if they don't, like, even if every single person who owns a Tesla doesn't use it in this way, they are going to produce these like cyber cabs, right? Which are meant to be Ubers. These things which are meant to be, this is going to go out into the world and just be an Uber for everybody. So really the idea is if they pull it off, giant if, they just also got Uber, right? If they take over the entire, what is the name of that industry? Like self-industry, the Uber Lyft.
Ride sharing?
Ride sharing. If they pull this off, take all of ride sharing immediately. Uber has a valuation of $150 billion. Lyft about $40 billion, right?
So 150 plus 40,
right?
Plus Tesla's current business,
$900 billion.
Even if they had entire Uber, entire Lyft, plus their current valuation, realistic valuation of like 84, they're not even close to what they're worth now.
Okay, one more argument. Two more.
I have a dark question at the end of this.
Okay,
you can.
I'll keep it somewhat concise. The other 2 points. One is Optimus. So they have this robot. If we pull it up here, they have this humanoid robot that they supposedly are going to release. He says like every year it's going to come out. Who knows if it'll ever come out. If it does, then that is going to be this unbelievable amount of units that they can sell because every company, every home could have these helping out. Now you might be like, that's pie in the sky. Anybody can make a robot. And that's probably correct. But part of what, for example, Andrej Karpathy has said, who led the Tesla AI stuff is, again, it comes back to this data. If Tesla has the amount of data that can fill an ocean and Waymo and everybody else has a swimming pool of data, right? The scale is that different. What Andre said is that there's actually a lot of translation from car vision processing over to robotics processing. That it's actually very similar of how you manage self-driving and process all that visual information to having a physical robot that's moving through your house. I don't know enough about robotics to know if that's true. It's probably oversimplifying things. But in theory, that gives them this massive advantage, again, over the Boston Dynamics, who make this funny prototype that they show once a year. These guys actually have an insane amount of
okay, but
data to
how
work
much
off
am I
of.
paying for that today? Like, how much have they shown that makes me trust that that's coming out relatively soon, will work, will sell to consumers, will make a profit, will make it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
editor, cut this from the episode. I don't believe that the robot thing will work. This seems way too optimistic.
I don't know.
Optimistic, if you will.
Hey, I'm moving over.
Oh, yeah, get over here. Yeah. Okay, and then last thing, and then we can conclude the whole argument. Is battery storage. So it's easy to think of Tesla just as a car company, but they do a ton of work with batteries. So their growth, actually, I have an article here. The growth that they've had with batteries is insane.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit about this.
So you can see this. They've had 2024 figures represent a 214% leap in storage deployment. So Tesla is leading the market globally in selling batteries and power packs and storage solutions. And this is only going to grow a little bit, like the guy who sold pans to the gold miners in the gold rush. Like, all the other EVs don't have this kind of power management system and technology and deployment, right? So in theory, just in the same way that Tesla's superchargers are the de facto chargers across the nation, right? They can also be, and quite possibly will, if Ford comes in and releases an amazing EV, that's great, but they're almost certainly going to be using Tesla's batteries, their system, their charging network, and that is almost going to be as valuable or more valuable because the amount of energy that is going to be needed and used, and even within AI, like battery technology, this is going to become a massive industry, is going to keep growing. Estimates that it's going to grow like 900% or something crazy. I forget the exact number over the next 8 years. But batteries, storage, the idea that in the future, as we unlock more types of energy generation, that there's systems that are we're selling energy to each other, that people, again, like the Tesla thing, you can have solar panels in your house and you sell the extra energy onto the market. And this becomes a real value add for people, with Tesla taking a piece of every single thing. It's another one of those, if this lands and they can deploy it to everybody and get there, crazy valuable. A massive if, though. And that is the argument for why Tesla might be worth 100 times what it makes in a year.
I appreciate you giving it to me, and I like hearing it. And I don't know, right? I don't know.
Can I admit something?
Yeah.
This is not a joke. 10 minutes before we recorded this, I sold half of my Tesla stock. I bought a bunch.
I love that the whole episode led up to that.
I bought a lot a few years ago because of the full self-driving thing, and I am now not nearly as confident that they're going to succeed at it. Yeah, and literally looking into all this made me sell my Tesla stock.
That's funny.
I think
that's crazy.
I think there's an argument for all this, but I wouldn't go all in on it.
You would have killed it at Model UN, dude.